Very good morning to all of you. Here I am going to discuss about the automotive chassis and frame. This topic is very interesting topic for the mechanical engineer student and for especially for the automobile engineering. First, going to introduce myself. I am Dilip Kumar, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department, AKGEC Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Now, topic is automotive chassis. So first I am going to discuss about the chassis. Chassis is basically a French word which means the vehicle without body, that is the chassis. If you consider the heavy vehicle, so a heavy vehicle without body, that is chassis, but in case of light vehicle or mono construction vehicle, that is the complete vehicle is the chassis. Chassis basically is consist of engine. If you draw the structure like this is here is the vehicle body. Here is the body vehicle, that is for we are considering for the heavy vehicle. Now this is the body. We also call the superstructure of the vehicle. Now we just draw the frame structure of the vehicle. All the loads like longitudinal loads, or we can say that there is a cross section or lateral sections over which engine is mounted, and there is some other components like a steering, gear box, propelling shaft. That power is transferred to the rear axle where wheel is mounted. Here is the differential. This differential transmit the correct amount of torque to the wheel. Okay, so chassis basically is we mentioned that the complete vehicle vehicle for the light vehicle. If you consider the heavy vehicle, so complete vehicle without body, that is the chassis. Okay, now this is the layout of you see the pictorial view of the vehicle. Here is whole this one is the chassis for heavy vehicle. Here all the components like engine, gearbox, these two are in between the clutch having the functioning. You already know that the disengaging is the disengaging is the engine to gearbox, and the power produced by the engine, that is transferred by the gearbox and ultimately to the rear wheel of the vehicle. So here is the body parts of the vehicle. If you consider for mono construction light vehicle, the complete vehicle is the chassis. Now coming to the function of the chassis. Chassis basically it support the bear the load of the vehicle body. It also carry the dead weight of the vehicle load. It also carry the luggage and passenger load. So loads loads of the passenger as luggage, it also develop the momentum, or we can say that the bending stresses also develop. These stresses is reduced by the chassis. Okay, So it is also provide the space and mounting location for various aggregates of the vehicle. It support the weight various of the system of the vehicle, such as engine, transmission system. It also withstand the stresses arising due to bad road conditions. Suppose there is a bump on the road, like so vehicle going like this way, so there is a stresses develop. So this stress is also minimized by the chassis frame. Okay, so during also we consider that during the braking system or accelerating the vehicle, this time also stresses is developed. So this stresses is minimized by the chassis. This is the main function of the chassis. Here the layout of the automobile chassis. Here is the body parts. Here is the frame structure. This one is the frame structure over which all the components like engine, clutch, gearbox. That one is universal joint. Here is the shaft, propelling shaft. This propelling shaft is connected to the rear axle by differential. Here is the differential. This differential is connected to the axle of the rear wheel. So rear wheel means vehicle is moving like in this direction. So rear shaft, here is the forward. Here is the forward direction, means front of the vehicle is that is the front of the vehicle. The front shaft is the rear shaft. Back of the vehicle, that is the rear shaft. Okay, so here is the components like engine, clutch, gearbox, propelling shaft and differential. These are the main components of the chassis. Okay, now here is the main components. Going to define one by one. Engine. So engine basically the powerhouse of the any vehicle or power plant of the vehicle. It produces the power. Okay, this power is utilized by the vehicle. So when vehicle turn or just move the vehicle, we need the power. So this power is utilized by the vehicle. Now next is powertrain. So train is basically a gearbox assembly. We can say that in between engine and gearbox there is a clutch. Generally engage or disengage the vehicle, through which we can just transfer the power from engine to the gearbox. So mechanism is to transmit the power from the engine to the wheel. That is the powertrain. Now next is the suspension system. Suspension system basically it absorb the bump, it absorb the shocks because of the irregularity in surface. So during the shocks there is a system like suspension system. Suspension system basically consists of a spring and damper. This devices absorb the shocks generated by the vehicle. Okay. Next is the steering system. If we see the function of a steering system, it control, or we can say that it give the direction of the vehicle. Suppose vehicle is moving in right direction, suddenly the turn is around, so in head. So by steering system we can just change the direction of the vehicle. Now the next is the vehicle system, the braking system. So braking system, you already know that the braking system is basically the slow down or stop the vehicle. That is the function of braking system. Next is electrical system. Electrical system, it provide the powering, like electrical system is to powering the light, charging of battery, other equipment, that is the part of electrical system. Okay. Now we are going to classify the classification of chassis. So here is the following classification, like based on according to the fitting of the engine, where engine is placed. Now we classify it according to the position of the engine. Suppose engine is placed in front of the driver. Okay, so fitted outside the driver cabin, so we can say that the full forward chassis. Like suppose here is the truck like this. Here is the wheel, here is the wheel. Okay, engine is placed here, cabin driver is here. So in this case we can say that there is a full forward chassis. So here this one is engine is placed in front of the driver cabin. So in this case we can say that is full forward chassis. In semi forward chassis, half of the engine is mounted in front of the driver cabin and half of the inside the cabin. That is the semi forward chassis. So half portion of the engine in the driver cabin and remaining half is outside the cabin, that is the semi forward chassis. Now case of bus chassis, the whole engine is fitted to the driver cabin, that is the bus. In this case, if you see that full forward chassis, there is a drawback, because this engine is placed in front of the driver cabin, so this space is not utilized by the passenger. We can say that there is a drawback. So fully space is not utilized by the passengers. And also we can say that there is a drawback, that visibility of the driver. Here if you see the visibility, like we see the structure like this, so this space is not visible to the driver, so this space is not visible. But in case of semi, or we can say that engine at the center chassis, complete visibility in case of center chassis, but in case of semi forward, visibility is better than full forward chassis. Okay. So now next is engine at the center chassis. Now engine is placed at the center of the chassis. Here is the driver cabin. Okay, engine is placed. So in this case, in the center of the chassis, this arrangement provides the full space of the chassis for the use. So if you compare the full forward chassis, semi forward chassis or center chassis, this one is good. Okay. Now next is according to drive, where we are going to drive the where we are going to power is given to the engine wheel. So suppose in case of rear wheel drive, the engine power is transmitted to the rear wheel. Suppose here is the vehicle structure, like okay, this is the vehicle, here the driver cabin. Now engine is placed here, suppose in front wheel, and driving is given to the rear wheel, like here. So in this case we can say the power is transferred to the rear axis. Okay, so here engine is placed at the front of the driver cabin and power is transmitted to the rear. So we can say that drive also depends on drive. So rear wheel drive, the power is transmitted to the rear wheel drive. So in this case we need the proper propelling shaft and clutch, gears and all equipment, components are needed in this case. But in case of front wheel drive, suppose engine is placed like engine is placed here, and drive power is also given to the here only. So there is need of modification is needed, because the propelling shaft is not required in this case. So we compare this in these two. So here is the propelling shaft is required, but here is propelling shaft is not required. So we can say that here modification is needed. So basically we see if we compare the other parameters like the wind velocity and load. So in this case engine is placed here. So if we see that the center of gravity, the center of gravity is near about the engine, because engine is heavy load. So center of gravity is if you see that the center of gravity is near about the engine, here is the near about the engine. But case the drive or power transmission, so front wheel drive, we just power is given to the front wheel drive, that is called front wheel drive. Power is given to the rear wheel drive, that is called the rear wheel drive. Another is all wheel drive. So in all wheel drive, the engine power is distributed to all the wheel of the vehicle, that is the all wheel drive. Now it is also classified in the number of wheels and number of driving wheels. Suppose 4x2 drive chassis wheel. So in this case 4 wheels means there is 4 wheels, out of which 2 wheels are driving wheels, that is 4x2 driving chassis vehicle. 4x4 similarly 4x4 drive chassis vehicle, it consists of 4 wheels and all of them are the driving wheels. 6x2 driving chassis vehicle means consist of 6 wheels and out of which 2 are the driving wheel. 6x4 driving chassis means consist of 6 wheels, out of which 4 wheels are driving wheels. Okay, so this is the classification of chassis. Now come on to the chassis frame. We already mentioned that the chassis is basically is complete vehicle without body, that is the chassis. Okay, here is the frame structure. It may be longitudinal or it may be lateral, like it may also crossed frame structure is also there, like okay. So all components of the vehicle except body are mounted on the frame. Okay, frame of the vehicle. So here the frame structure. Okay, so basically chassis frame is the basic framework of the automobile. It supports all the parts of the automobile attached to it. All the parts means having the engine, gearbox, there is propelling shaft, here is the differential, finally there is wheel mounted on rear axis of the vehicle, that is the here is the rear axis or where wheel is mounted. So rear wheel, we can say that it is made of basically forged steel, and all the parts are related to automobile and attached to it only. Okay, so all the systems related to automobile like power plant, transmission, steering system, suspension, braking system, all are attached to this attached to and supported by, that is the function of the frame. Okay, now function of the frame. Here the very little bit difference between the chassis and frame. Here all the vehicle load is mounted on the frame. Okay, here all the stationary load weight, we can say that the dead weight load is attached to the frame, and load of the passenger also mounted or load of the passenger and cargo carried on the frame. Okay, it withstand the torsional vibration caused by the movement of the vehicle. And next is the withstand the to withstand the centrifugal force caused by the cornering of the vehicle. Okay, now next function of the chassis frame is to control the vibration caused by the running of the vehicle. So when vehicle is running, there is some vibration we expect. So this vibration can or shock can be reduced by the chassis frame. And there is components attached to the vehicle. This component also generate the stresses like longitudinal stress, lateral stress, it may be torsional stress. These all stresses are reduced by the chassis frame. Okay, so if you see the last point, it is written that to withstand the bending stresses due to rise and fall of the front of the rear axle. So if the vehicle is moving on the road and suddenly there is impact, so in this case also we can say that there is stress generated. This stress is generated is reduced by the chassis frame. Okay, now load acting on the frame. So there is a load, it may be bending load, it may be twisting load, and some impact load also. Case of bending load, there is suppose here is the rod which are basically we consider the axis, we consider the shaft, rear shaft of the vehicle, where load is mounted, but it tendency to develop bending. Okay, so there is maybe some deflection over it. Okay, we can say that here is the attached, here is fixed, we can say that there is some deflection. So in this case there is this load having vertical load, again the vertical load. So this is due to the dead weight of the vehicle, weight of the passenger, and engine torque, and then other points are also the braking torque. These are basically related to bending load. If we want to calculate the load, bending load, so we can just write down the bending moment equation, m by I equal to, that is E by R equal to sigma OA. From this equation we can calculate the bending moment generated in this rod. So rod is basically here is given like that. We can calculate the moment of inertia, how much deflection. We can just say that moment of inertia is known, moment how much this load is producing the torque moment, and sigma is basically we just calculate it. So from this equation, bending momentum equation, we can calculate the bending load. Okay, next is flexural load. Flexural load also develop the lateral plane of the side member due to road camber, cornering force, side wind. These are responsible for the these are all are responsible for the bending load. Next is torsional load. Torsional load is caused due to vertical load when the vehicle comes across a road bump. Okay, so suppose the vehicle is running on the smooth surface, or there is there is a bump portion of the road, there may be due to vehicle movement, it produce the torsional load, because the vertical load is also acting, so it produce the twisting moment. Okay, so second point is design of the frame. Design of frame is done as to resist torsion by providing torque resist movement, cross movement members, radius load, range of frame time, torque members. Okay. Third load is also considered, that is impact load. There suppose vehicle is moving and suddenly obstacle present on the road, there is chances of the collision, that is the impact load. Okay, to reduce the impact load, bumpers are provided and they provide safely and longer life of the frame. Here are various types of the chassis frame sections. First is the channel section, that is good resistance to bending. Second is box section, good resistance to both bending and torsion. This one is for good resisting to bending. So generally we see that channel section where bending resistance is dominating, we can just use the channel section. Okay, here is the last slides, various types of chassis frame. So various types of chassis frame. First one is conventional frame. It is also called non-load carrying frame. Here in between all loads are generally transferred to the suspension system. So there is no role of frame. So we can say no load carrying capacity. Semi-integral, here frame load is half load is transferred to the frame and half load is transferred to the suspension system, that is semi-integral frame. In integral frame structure, all vehicle is considered a single unit. So this is also called the no frame. Okay, so this other name is also called the integral frame or unit frame. So this is all about the various types of chassis. So thank you so much.